Fuck. This is impossible. I don't want to have to pick a game of the year. And the whole thing's subjective anyway, and because I'm a normal human, you know, that experiences emotion, my opinion changes as often as Bugs Bunny changes outfits in one of those disturbingly erotic Looney Tunes episodes. Like one day I want to play an RPG, the next day I want to play a fucking action game, or a nostalgic game, or immersive single player, competitive multiplayer. Fucking just have a good cry, I can turn on Ori and the Blind Forest. One thing that does remain religiously consistent is this. I always want quality gameplay, I know that much, but within that demand, there are even sub-categories. Like some days, I want that great gameplay in the context of a story. Then other days, I don't fucking care. So, shit. What the fuck am I gonna do? Wait a minute. I got this. Right? It's been a couple years, but I can channel college. I can flex my research muscle, right? Like, I paid them all that money, so I'm gonna rise to this challenge, and I'm not gonna cower before it. I'm going to become the embodiment of the bovine scatological artisan I was trained to be, and I don't have any choice. I'm gonna lit major the shit out of this thing. Dying light! Have a happy and healthy 2016. No! As I realized recently, my undergraduate degree has apparently only prepared me to be a career alcoholic. So I just simplified things when I was thinking about my game of the year and asked myself what I really wanted. Like, ultimately, what's the big dream? How gaping was the hole that could only be filled with interactive entertainment? And the answer was easy. I want a holodeck, or a Matrix plug that's fine, or VR so good I can't tell it's not actually either of those first two things. And I need this stuff because I grew up watching graphics go from 2D to 3D to fucking this. And Matrix plugs seem like the only logical finish line for this process. And despite the contrary insistence of my research staff, I'm sure that goal will one day be reached. Yes, my preference changing daily, like Bugs Bunny changing outfits, might be another symptom of the substance abuse-related early onset dementia that turns my thoughts into Tuesday's special at a Chinese restaurant, but it's also a result of my love for games of all kinds. But I love none with more fervor than those attempting to trawn me into their world. So this means that the games that grab me and refuse to let go tend to be huge, pretty AAA titles, in spite of that last bit having become something of a dirty word. Well, okay, dirty series of letters, but you get the idea. I bring all this up so that when you look at this list of games that I loved from the past year, and I really did love all of these, I can't emphasize that enough, that you can see why a few fall out of Game of the Year contention almost immediately. The rest are removed because they were remakes or because of issues with replay value or just the novelty wearing off. And after I narrowed it down to 3, I just played them again, and it all became pretty clear.
If there's some way we can make this happen. What the fuck?
Okay, right out of the gate, it must be said that fucking zombies, Jesus, enough already, alright, with the zombies, just, ugh. And also that Dying Light will never be burdened with the mantle of best video game script in history. But that's not to say that it isn't fun in an old school action horror kind of way. And the opening cutscene that sucked me face first into my now Game of the Year is actually complete gold. I'm a badass. Oh, I'm Kyle Crane, I'm fucking awesome, look at my HUD. It's so AR. Yeah, I'd rather jump out of this fucking plane. Yes! Kick some ass. Oh, fuck, I'm stuck. Hey fellas, how you doing? I got stuck on the, oh god, ow, that's a zombie. Oh god, it bit me, get it off me. What the fuck, what's happening? Oh god, hey baby, oh yeah, you're cute. And I honestly thought that I was just watching a first-person snuff video of a character I'd never play as. And it made me understand how helpless even a trained military hard cunt,
a so-called hard cunt,
was once he was inside of Haran. And this is where the importance of the story comes in, not so much in its actual plot, but in how it ties in with the rest of the game. That every attempt to pull yourself up and out of danger will result in a swift and impenetrable closure of Main Street.
right up Main Street.
That high ground that at the very least your butt cheeks are sure you need right fucking now is your only safe haven. Unless you're being pursued by the recently infected viral class, and they can climb. So, oh, and a nice touch with those guys, they say things like this. As the last of their humanity battles the infection. It's charming. and you're gonna wanna go high up and stay there, as every standard zombie poses a threat that early in the game. They don't just fall over in a stiff breeze like it's fucking Dead Rising. No, you have to take that fucking shitty wrench, or pipe, just fucking beat the shit out of them, like fucking wail on him, like you're fighting to the death in King's Landing, like Crane's fucking screaming and running out of breath because his combat stamina also sucks. In addition to all of this, the time it takes to kill one infected is time you don't have, and that's during the day. When do you feel your real-life heart rate skyrocket when you look up from picking a lock or searching a building, and the sun is disturbingly low in the sky, and there's about half a city between you and the nearest safe house, and this all occurs to you as you remember how pathetic you are, and then it dawns on you that there's probably a really good reason this game's called Dying Light, and why is that alarm going off, and fuck! There are zombie predator vampires! Go, man! What? Are you, like, smoking? Wait, why are you out of breath? You can breathe later! So while Kyle Crane, the character, is new to the abilities he'll need to survive, and barely hanging on to a sense of control over his situation, his surroundings, and his life, your meteor skill tree is reflecting those struggles. As he grows and improves, so does your pool of accessible skills and resources, not to mention your actual skill at the game. The beginning and end of Dying Light play like two completely different experiences. You begin the game as Kyle Crane, woefully unprepared and zombie-bitten tourist, struggling to find a moment's peace on top of a bus, scurrying around in the impenetrable darkness while you enjoy, as the player, little to no agency as you get comfortable being the squishy blood bag you've been in nearly every survival horror game in history. Contrast this with the Kyle Crane that emerges as a purebred USA American hero who has developed his skills, knows the city, and is back to being the hard motherfucker he always was, just as you, the player, emerge as a fully leveled up Dying Light expert. Either of you have any reason to cower anymore. You don't sneak around in the streets, because why the hell would you when you're Spider-Manning all over the city with an electrified machete that also sets things on fire, because Techland knows there's absolutely no goddamn reason you shouldn't have an electrified machete that sets things on fire, or that every game shouldn't have one, or that fucking anything ever shouldn't have one, because it's an electrified machete that fucking sets things on fire. And while you're doing all this insane shit, the game feel will keep you firmly tethered to the world of Haran. Game feel being that mercurial term that has at best only been vaguely defined, but everybody understands, and is ultimately the best way to describe that fucking sorta solid. I'm there, I'm doing an input response the player has when sound and animation and action and haptic feedback all come together at once. It's a hallmark of the best games, whether the game is simple or complex in its execution. And Dying Light manages it with almost every button press, or footfall, or profoundly amateurish parkour attempt. The only game that came close to competing with Dying Light in terms of gameplay or game feel this year was The Phantom Pain. Fuck me, that game was fantastic to play. It was gratifying just to, like, run, which good, because I did a fuck ton of it. Why does he always sound like he's wearing corduroy? Not important. What is important is that it had some of the best gameplay ever created, but that gameplay lacked connective tissue with the story and the world around it. Occasionally, the tissue was there, and those were some of the game's best moments, but by and large, what I did on a mission felt far away from everything else that happened in the game. You just bounce to a mission area, or travel to one, Metal Gear the fuck out of some stuff, and then you're back at the chopper to Mother Base so you and goddamn Russian Benjamin Button can leer at a 9/10 naked lady while she showers. Which is, you know, Metal Gear, and I fucking love it, but you get the idea. Meanwhile, back in Dying Light, you're not even on a campaign mission, but you're fucking into it. You're part of Haran. You're one with Kyle Crane as you dig through a trash can to get alcohol like a hobo that's about to get the DTs, so you can craft a med kit so you can get back across town to deliver life-saving medicine or coffee. Alright, yeah. The sort of bullshit fetch quest is part of the RPG elements that help and hinder Dying Light, but clearly aren't as well executed as they are in something like Witcher 3. But that's hardly fair, because as an open-world action RPG, Witcher 3 absolutely crushes it. It crushes it so hard that it turned me from a guy that could hardly stand the stat-freak excessive items to the point of being a superfluous thing in most RPGs, to a guy that genuinely had no idea it was 7 a.m. because I have to get on a boat to Skellige, but first I gotta bare-knuckle box this cunt in a bar. And while we're over here visiting The Witcher, just look at it. Not that Dying Light is a slouch in that department, but my god, the vistas, the cities, the wind in the trees, Hey, hi, Geralt of Rivia. Nice, outfit. But in the same way the RPG elements of Dying Light can't live up to those in Witcher 3, the gameplay in Witcher 3 can't hope to live up to that found in Dying Light. Dying Light does one thing better than both its compatriots on the podium this year. Every action you take with your character fits perfectly into the world. It all has context, all makes sense. In The Witcher, I'm supposed to be a legend, but 3 scruffy bandits can kick my ass because they have a higher number over their head? Granted, this is a function of most RPGs, but it's still a circumstance in which what you're doing with the character doesn't fit what you know about the character. It doesn't fit the character's place in the world. Doesn't fit the world, period. In Metal Gear, every action I take makes sense in the context of what I know about Snake from previous games, but it doesn't marry to the story in Phantom Pain. It feels as though it's happening somewhere else in a weird way. And Dying Light never suffers from this problem. In addition to everything I've mentioned, it's beautifully and meticulously realized, has a score that fits into its campy-ish action horror vibe, and provides a movement system that truly lets you be free to explore the world like no other game has really managed. It's one step closer to a holodeck, and it's the best thing I've seen all year. And one quick note before I say goodbye to 2015. Techland, and this is also true of CD Projekt Red, who made Witcher 3, have been awesome to their fans. They've kept the Dying Light candle burning for a year now with a bunch of free and awesome or respectfully priced or just not shitty Battlefront DLC. They've kept an open ear to the community and they've swiftly released patches. So, y'all are awesome, thank you. And note to every other dev and publisher on the planet, this is how you fucking do it. With that, I bid you adieu, and I hand you over to Zed for a final thought. It's my turn? Goody! What the fucking fuck were you thinking with this goddamn ending? Not that the plot is exactly why anybody shows up to this party, except for Roger Craig Smith fucking killing it as always, but what the fuck is this? This whole mission is completely fucked from Jump Street, a game completely based by your own admission on freedom, and the final mission consists of a foot chase that for the first time introduces comically out-of-place chasms and Mario-like platforms every 4 feet, resulting in a guaranteed fail state if I don't adhere to your rigidly specific path. Oh look, I'm dead. Oh look, dead again! Then a building climb that's not so much challenging as, again, demanding of the same obnoxious precision found in the sewer. And then, once all that's over, the 50 falls to my death have sufficiently curb-stomped the cinematic tone, and I think I'm gonna get rewarded with the first and only opportunity to slice and dice the living shit out of Rise. Because, spoiler alert, you throw him off a fucking building, you not only deny me the chance, but then make me participate in the first and only QuickTime event in the entire fucking game? A QuickTime event in 2015, in this fucking game? In the closing seconds! No less, you're lucky I love this game so much, or I'd be booking passes on the first ship out of port because they wouldn't let me on a plane with all the stuff that I had to bring to Poland so I could thank you properly! Happy New Year!